You're listening to the Go Getter Podcast. I'm your host, Candace. I'm a digital marketing and automation strategist and business coach. I'm the CEO and founder of Epic Fab Girl, where we help Christian women entrepreneurs market and scale their service-based businesses beyond six figures as they grow deeper in their faith. So whether you're a coach, speaker, or a service provider, this podcast will drop gems, bringing you tips, strategies, and stories from experts to help you take your life, business, and relationship with God to the next level. Hello and welcome to the Go Getter Podcast. I'm your host, Candace, and I am so excited about today's episode because this is a snippet from our Millions in the Marketplace challenge that we had last December, and it was so crazy. And so today's episode is a conversation that we had with one of the experts who's running a seven-figure business. And when I tell you, I was incredibly blessed by all of the speakers. So if you haven't already heard anything about Millions in the Marketplace, it literally is just a challenge that we did that was focused on helping women that were service-based entrepreneurs hear from stories of people that look like them that have been building and growing and scaling 7+ figure businesses. Okay, so you are going to hear today from one of those talks, and it is going to be amazing. When I tell you, these conversations absolutely blessed me, and I really pray and hope that it blesses you too. So whether you're just listening to this episode as a standalone episode, or you've heard another episode from the Millions in the Marketplace challenge, you already know that you are in for an incredible treat. Make sure you head over to the other episodes if you haven't already listened to them, because they are going to be incredible. But stay tuned for today's episode with our guest expert. Y'all, I'm going to introduce you guys to my business mentor, but he is an incredible entrepreneur. This is Lamar Tyler. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of his bio. But Lamar has leveraged digital marketing to move his online brands from a small personal blog to an international brand with over 65,000 customers in all 50 states and 43 countries around the world. Among the recognition received for his work, Lamar, along with his wife, Ronnie, was named one of Ebony Magazine's Power 100, a list of the top 100 movers and shakers in the Black community, finalist for Black Enterprise's Family Business of the Year, finalist for Infusionsoft Small Business Icon Award, and winners of the ClickFunnels 2, Award. I'm telling y'all, that's a little bit about Lamar, but there's so much more to him. But Lamar, welcome to the Millions in the Marketplace challenge, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on, Candace. Excited. Thank you for the honor, right, of being invited. I know this is a all-star lineup this week. I know you got your people primed and they ready. So thank you again. I'm excited to be here.
I love it. So I would love to know from you. It's easy to read someone's bio and still kind of feel afar off from them, right? Mm-hmm. And especially as entrepreneurs that are listening to your story and listening to your journey, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and just your journey into entrepreneurship and where you are now?
Yep. Again, name's Lamar, originally from Prince George's County, Maryland, in the DMV. Anybody from the DMV? Anybody ever been to the DMV? Anybody heard of DMV? Write in the chat. Let me know. My wife and I, Ronnie, are business partners, right? Been married for 18 years. Been in business for 15 years now. And we got 4 kids, right? 1 son, 3 daughters. There we go. Nelly, VA. All right, a couple yeses. All right. So what's interesting is that growing up, always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Let me know if that resonates. If that's anybody in the chat. Like growing up, I felt like I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I should be an entrepreneur. I want to do this thing. But also growing up, Candace, I didn't know anybody that was entrepreneurs around me. I didn't grow up in a family. Some people always like, hey, I knew you grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. Nope. I ain't know no entrepreneurs. I never met no entrepreneurs. So the good part of the first half of my life was just trying to figure out what entrepreneurship was. And one of the big blessings I tell people that we have now is part of it is social media, but part of it is the world is way more connected than it was before, right? Because I'm going back to when I was young and growing up, like you had to read a book, but people weren't even putting out books like that, not giving up the game. So you can read a book, but it's going to be somebody's autobiography. You're not going to learn nothing. Y'all know what I'm saying? You're not going to learn nothing to be able to actually implement from it. It may inspire you, but that's it. So now, like the fact that we can get here and it could be like, you could be on your lunch break from anybody doing a lunch break from work, I won't tell. You could be on your lunch break from work and jump onto a call like this and hear all week from people with 7-figure businesses. That didn't exist for me. So I had to learn it the hard way. A lot of trial and error my wife and I went through, but finally been able to get to a place where, hey, we can learn some things and then come back and share it with others so that everybody on here, what I want you to know is that your path to $1 million won't be as long as mine was because of this event this week and because of what Candace is bringing to y'all.
Man, that was a gem right there. Like the fact that we have access to information and that is literally at our fingertips for free, right? And I told the ladies this yesterday is that this was not on my radar to do. I was wrapping up all my challenges for the year. And then God was like, oh, this is what you want to do. But just the fact that you can sit and even listen to podcasts or just so much information with the level that you're like at the level that you can invest at, right? And so for you, you said you've been in business for 15 years, right?
Correct.
But you started and you didn't know anybody that was in business. So what did that look like for you to go from, $0, not knowing how to make money, to now having over a 7-figure business, right? What was that journey like for you?
It was hard and a lot harder than it should have been. And this is what I want everybody to get, right? Candace talk about, hey, like information, access to it is so free and it's easy now. But the main thing is that most people, even though information is easy, most people will still never have 7 figures in business or 7 figures in their bank account because although the information is easy, the work is hard. Let me repeat that so in case somebody ain't catch it, right? The information is easy, the work is hard. So the question you got to ask yourself is, am I willing to show up and do the work of what's required to get the payoff that I want? People say, well, Lamar, I want to build a 7-figure business. You can't build a 7-figure business with 5 and 6-figure effort, right? So it's going to take a different type of lift. Now, it's easier than it's ever been, but it's still going to take some work. And I don't want y'all, like Instagram, TikTok, a lot of these social platforms, they selling y'all a bill of goods. It ain't true. It ain't right all the way. So what that looked like for us, Candace, is in our original business, my wife and I, we started with a blog, right, called Black and Married with Kids. It was the largest Black marriage and parenting site on the web. We launched that December 2007. It took us 7 years to gross our first $1 million in business. Not even mean like $1 million per year. Like all these people this week y'all hearing from are doing like, including me, right? We're doing like millions per year. To make our first $1 million total from like the first dollar to, hey, it's $1 million over all these years took 7 years. That was about 3 or 4 years too long. And when I say that, what I realized once we finally got there was that we reinvented the wheel over and over and over again. We did so many things that people already knew not to do, but we did them anyway. We did so many things that we did it in 10 steps, only took 5. The reason we did those things is because what we didn't know was to connect with people that already had the information. And that probably has been the greatest hack that I could tell y'all, right? If you don't get nothing, get this week. You got to connect with people that already got the answers to the questions you got. What does that look like? That look like conferences, look like workshops, it look like intensives. It look like you spending your time this way during the middle of the day instead of catching up on a Netflix series that you're watching. Instead of watching movies on Netflix and you get to the end and the movie ending is whack. Y'all know what movie I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like doing the things like that most people do. But if you want different results than what most people get, you got to do different things. And that really was it. Once we started connecting with people like you, experts, like people that, hey, like I got a tool, I know how to market, I know how to get the message to the marketplace, then things shot up. So what I do, here's another hack I'm gonna give y'all. Every time I want to learn something now, what I do, Candace, I go pay somebody. Like who can I find that's already doing this thing that can either show me how to do it or do it for me? So we got about 4 different initiatives that are brand new initiatives in the business for next year. We ain't trying to learn from scratch none of this stuff. Each one is the exact same thing, right? I got a call with somebody today I'm talking to. I had a call with a different consultant yesterday. I got a call with somebody that we're trying to get in next week, Tuesday, before the end of the year. Because I need to pay them before the end of the year. Maybe we need to talk about that too for some of your people. But I need to get this money off my books for January 1 rollover. So I told him like, hey, I need to meet with you next week because I need to pay you next week before we go into the new year. But now I'm trying to do is find somebody who already knows and is an expert in what I'm trying to do. And basically what I'm paying them for is the ability to be able to shortcut time. Like what would take me 3 years to learn, they already went through the bumps and bruises. Let me get through this in the next 3 months or the next 12 months, right? And then make my money faster. Because if I'd have known what I know now, I would have done that. Instead of 7 years to get into our first million gross, we could have done that in 3 years, and then we would have doubled every year after that. And the impact on not just the business, but me and my family would be totally different.
Man, you started touching on so many things that I want to talk about, but one of the things that really struck with me was you talking about being able to pay for something at the end of the year because you have money you're trying to spend at the end of the year. I was literally just on a coaching call with my clients yesterday, and I told them, I'm like, you need to find the types of entrepreneurs who have the money sitting in their bank account to pay you what you want to get paid. And I feel like so many times entrepreneurs convince themselves that there's no audience like that, or that they shouldn't raise their prices. And I was talking to her, she had an offer for like $12,000. And I'm like, we can easily up this to 18,000, because if you look at the cost over monthly, like if they wanted to spend that money right now, let them do it. So can you talk about, especially as people of color entrepreneurs, about the importance of raising your prices and valuing our services at that price point, and the fact that there are people out there that are willing to spend that type of money?
Totally so, right? So what this looks like for everybody listening, let me know if y'all getting value from this down the chat too. What this looks like for everybody listening, right? Is no matter how bad, and this don't matter. Like sometimes more people, less people, but no matter how bad you think the economy is, no matter how bad you think things are going, no matter how bad things are in your city, your county, your state, it's always people that got money. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of times we think that when the markets go down, when society go down, like don't nobody have money. Know this: whenever there's crisis, right? Whenever there is anxiety in the marketplace, whenever there is like things moving in the economy, there's also a transfer of wealth. So money is always moving, right? There are people that bet that the economy will go down and they make money when that happens. There are certain industries that when the economy go down, those markets and industries go up. So it's always money in the marketplace. So what happens is that for people that generate money at the end of the year, they need things to spend that money on, else they're gonna get taxed on it. And what a lot of them do, right? We have people spending like my cars and houses, all the kind of stuff like that. That's a different conversation. But at the bare minimum, for example, right? I got things that I got to pay for next year, no matter what. So it's my tax benefit to pay for those things this year, so I can get to write off this year in 2023. When I do my taxes, right, for next year for 2023, I want that write off now instead of paying for it in January and not be able to actually expense or write that thing off until the end of 2024 for taxes when I'm doing those in 2025. Let me know if that makes sense. I'm trying to keep it simple but break it down at the same time. So, Ashley Kirkwood is coming. Ooh, Ashley gonna be so good. Y'all gonna love Ashley. Ashley Kirkwood gave me a specialist I needed, right? Because I got some vocal issues. I talked yesterday, did a consultation, going to see him next week. I'll probably pay their whole fee. I'm not even sure what the structure of their payments is, but if I decide, hey, I want to go all the way, what I'm gonna say is, hey, let me make this full payment now, next week before the first come. Because if I'm gonna pay that money, right, $10,000, $15,000 investment, I want all the write-off for it to be attributed towards this year. I got somebody else consulting. It's a new area we moving into. Y'all, I ain't trying to learn. Like, I don't want to learn from scratch. I didn't take enough. Anybody took enough bumps and bruises? You like, I don't need no more bumps. Anybody like, look, I'm good, right? Dr. Zakina, like, yes. You like, look, I just give me the easy way. I don't want no more bumps and bruises. So I got a consultant I'm meeting with. And again, I told my EA, my executive admin, I was like, hey, get her on the calendar. It's just like, I'm trying to see if I can do early next week. I said, tell her I'm trying to pay her next week. Not just I'm trying to talk, I'm trying to get a consultation. I'm trying to pay her next week. And I want to pay her early in the week to make sure it can clear before we get to the 31st and the 1st. So know that those people are out there. The other thing I'm going to give y'all, if you have clients, right? If you have clients, because I got mine going out this week. Now is the time when you reach out to your clients and you let them know if what you do is a business expense for them. Anybody got a business where it's a business expense for your clients? Let me know down in the chat. If what you do is a business expense, you should be reaching out to them and saying, hey, if anybody has money and, what I do is a business expense, right? You need additional write-offs or you want to accelerate your spending so that you spend on this in 2023 instead of 2024. if they're doing payment plans and you tell them, hey, you know what? You're doing payment plans and you're in a position you want to go ahead and pay that payment plan off, you can go ahead and do it now. We'll take that payment now. That way you can expense the whole thing for this year. A lot of people either don't know or they forget. And then by the time they get to go to get their taxes done, it's like too late, right? Because most people are not keeping up with their taxes and spending it all throughout the year. They just wait until everything is done, and by then it's done. So you should be putting that thought in their head. You can do that. You can easily clear extra additional money at the end of the year to go ahead and make this year strong. Hey, what if I told y'all this year ain't over? Candace, don't get me going. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I know like I ain't got much time, and then Ashley gonna come and try to blow the doors off me in a minute. So
listen, you are so on point. I've been telling everybody, I'm like, still expect more out of God this year. Like, we have Monday morning prayer calls. I literally just did it on Monday, and I made them on November 20th. Write down 42 days, like 42 days left in the year. Still be in expectation for this year, right? Like, there's still money to be made before the year is out. So that is so, so good. If you've learned anything from this podcast, I know you're going to love the Go Getter Confidential Click at gogettermembership.com. It's a global membership community for Christian women entrepreneurs to connect, build wildly profitable service-based businesses, and grow their faith. So whether you're just getting started with an idea or you already have an established brand and you want to lay the foundation for six-figure income, the Go Getter membership is just what you need. With expert masterclasses, monthly prayer, and tons of courses and downloads, your business will be better because of it. Entrepreneurship isn't easy, but this community will help you go from feeling stuck to clear and motivated. Join today at gogettermembership.com and save 50% off your first 3 months when you use code podcast at checkout. We'll see you inside. One question I have for you is, because you touched on, well, actually, Carla asked a really good question in the chat. She said, I've invested $12,000 this year to help me get ahead. I'm still in the same place. How do you know who to invest with? And she said, I'm praying for discernment this year. One thing I want to say really quickly is that from my perspective, I think receipts are really important. And I want y'all to learn sooner than later. I sat back and watched Lamar at a distance since 2015. I sat and watched him. Yes. Like I when I was getting ready to quit my job, like I found you on the internet and I saw literally everyone from Jamal Miller to Ashley Kirkwood, who I went to high school with, from Ari, like all these people that I personally knew that were building 7- and 8-figure businesses, Tim and Kim. And I'm like, not me sitting on the sidelines the whole entire time and finally deciding to get in the game so many years later. But one of the things that really helped me determine what I should invest in was the receipts. And also looking for their testimonials. Like, are these people who have fruit that look like anything I want my fruit to look like?
That's good. That's so good. And I echo that. Because y'all, like what we're talking about, again, like I invest in other people all the time, right? So, Candace, if I can say just a few things about that. I invest in coaches, I invest in consultants, I invest in conferences, all the things y'all invest in or you should be investing in, I invest in myself. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that every time I invest in someone or something, it does not hit. So I'm be real. There is no way we can take 100% of the risk off the table. But there are some things I can do to try to improve my discernment and then try to figure out, okay, who may be the best person for me to work with or go forward with. And when I think about that, it's a few things, right? Like Candace said, I'm looking and I'm trying to explore what's going on. I'm looking and seeing like, hey, like she said, what's the actual receipts? Like, what's the proof that they are really an expert? And in the space, y'all gonna have to pay attention more than ever because with AI, how many of y'all use AI out there? With AI and Chat GPT and stuff like this, everybody gonna sound like an expert. If they're not already, in the next few months, once the scammers get on there, boy, it's gonna be, listen, before they just had like an ebook, they bought somebody and put their branding on it. Now they're gonna be able to make books and courses and conferences and read from the prompter. It's gonna be so much. So the real experts, what the real experts gonna have is they're gonna have fruit. You're gonna see fruit that come from their trees, where it's gonna be other people that invested with them, that got results, and then boom, they made it happen. What you also gotta look at, and you gotta see, is who does this person surround themselves with? And that's why, like, I'm also, that's like another indicator. I'm also very leery of who I connect with and who I'm around. Because I got friends who I think are good people, and I'll meet somebody, be like, man, they seem like a real good person. But I'm like, man, like that, the people they around seem kind of scamish. Anybody ever seen that before? You like, they seem good, but it's scamish. So it slows me down from where we probably could connect. We probably do things, I might buy their stuff, but it slowed me down because I'm just trying to figure out the circle they're around. But here's one of the things I learned over the last 15 years, y'all. I want you to write this down. One of my very good friends, Marshawn Evans Daniels, right? My sis, I was listening to something she did or somewhere she was speaking at. She spoke at my events. It might have been my thing, might have been somebody else's thing. But Marshawn was speaking to the fact, she was like, hey, you know what? A lot of us think that we're stuck with the family that we're born into. So I was like, this is interesting, right? Tell me more. So Marshawn goes on to say that no, what we don't often realize is that, yes, you can pick your own family. And when she talked about picking your own family, she's talking about the fact you may be sitting there in Kansas, you may be sitting in Jamaica, you may be sitting in New York, no matter where you are, saying like, man, I need some people around me that's excited about their business, that's trying to grow something, that's trying to do something, right? That's trying to, like get to wherever you're trying to get to and be frustrated because they're not. But the beauty of it is, guess what? You in the family right now. Guess what? You got new sisters right here all around you. That's all moving towards the same goal, because if they wouldn't, it's a million other things you could be doing at your lunchtime, middle of the day on Wednesday, December 20th, 5 days before Christmas. To be in this room, you got to be a special kind of person. Just to be here, right? You could be spending this time going out to get your last minute gifts if you haven't started shopping like me. So it's a million, don't judge me, y'all. It's a million other things you could do. So you get to choose your circle. If I could do one more thing, Marshawn gave me that was real good, Candace. She was doing an interview with my buddy Paul. And Paul's asking about mentorship. Y'all, this is one of the things that changed my life. Check this out. Marshawn said sometimes people wait and they're expecting, right? This level of expectancy, wanting a mentor to pick them. Right? Anybody ever felt yourself like, man, if somebody could just show me, somebody could just take me, somebody could just like get me out the crowd. You've been in a room with somebody influential and you like, man, or you might even been in church, right? You like, it's a good pass, somebody preach, somebody give them word, somebody might prophesy, you like, just pick me. It's like, just see me. When they look over here, they're going to see me in the crowd and pick me out. On that interview, Marshawn said, what people don't realize is that you can buy a mentor. And when she said that literally changed my life. Because that's one of the levels. When she said that, I said, you know what? I ain't got to wait to get picked by somebody to know all the things. All I got to do is buy access to somebody to know all the things, right? We be having people speak at our event. Somebody asked me last month, I did an interview. They said, Lamar, how do you get such and such and such to come speak at your conference? I said, I pay them. The people don't know me. They ain't friends with me. After they leave, we might start to build some kind of relationship. But I said, I pay them. That's what I do. So know that you can get access to mentorship. You get access to the information. You got to invest when you invest. Look at the person, look at the fruit they bear from that tree. Look at the actual individuals they surround themselves with, right? And it's no way, you got to get in circles like this. There's no way that you cannot be successful if you hang around successful people all day. There's no way you can't get new ideas, new revelation about where you want to grow and what you want to do with the business if you spend your lunchtime like this instead of spending your lunchtime goofing off, which is what 99% of the population do. To get better, you got to be better. Just where being better start rooms like this.
Listen, you getting into all my questions because I wanted to talk about the power of environment, but I actually want to reel it back and because this is something I haven't heard you talk much about, but you are a business owner, but you have a family, right? And
Correct.
so talk to us about, you briefly mentioned earlier about the impact of your business on your family. Talk to us about just like that work-life balance as well as the trade-off of like spending time on your business, working for yourself, and how that has been able to shift your family.
Hey, can I be real? Like, let me know in the chat real quick. I ain't got much time, right? I know Ashley ready to come blaze the doors off. Let me know if I can be real with y'all real quick in the chat, right? Everybody watching. Because this is a conversation I normally don't have. Normally, it don't get asked to me a lot, but I got some opinions that's not always status quo, right? I see Be Real. Please, right? Help us. All right. Here's my thing. I'm not a big believer, and everybody now agrees, I'm not a big believer in balance. I think balance for a lot of us is a fallacy, where we think everything is going to be perfect. I want you to think back in your life, how many times everything been perfect? How many times your work life then balanced out with your family life, then balanced out with your relationship with your parents, then balanced out with your relationship with your children, right? Like all those things. Jaquez said never, right? Champ said never. So I'm not saying it can't happen. Maybe it will at some point for you, right? I don't want to speak against that. But what I will say is that for most of us, that's not there. So what my wife and I have learned to do is we've learned that, hey, there are going to be seasons. And that's just being real. It's seasons where we got to push harder into the business to make the things we need to happen with the business. It's seasons where our kids needed to push harder into the kids to make sure they getting what they need, to make sure they doing what they supposed to do. Anybody got kids know what I'm talking about out there, right? Like there are these seasons that we kind of ebb and flow based on what's going on. It's seasons when the kids were smaller. I was telling entrepreneur recently with small kids. It was season when the times when the kids were smaller, we had to do a ton more. Then the kids hit teenagers, and they ain't want to spend time with us if we wanted to spend time with them. Anybody got a teen, had a teen before? Let the people know I ain't lying in the chat. Sometimes they might think I'm a bad dad out here. I don't care how much time you want to spend with some of them kids. Them kids ain't trying to spend time with you. So you got more time to work on your business, right? Ain't nobody, you come in the door, let me stay focused. So I'm traumatized, y'all, by these teens. So we know that with the ebb and flow, right? It's different parts of it. But here's one of the things that I think about and I've thought about oftentimes. And this may not be a popular opinion. But what I realize is that my wife and I are building something nobody in either one of our families have ever built. So what I also realize in that is that the reason I'm building something that nobody's ever built so that my children can benefit from it, but not just my children's children's children, right? We talk about legacy. We talk about leaving an inheritance. We talk about these pieces, right? Like they say, hey, you know what? When we talk about wealth, most of the time in the Black community, we talk about leaving a house behind, a family house, leaving some cars behind or some clothes. Let's leave the Louis bags behind, for the girls. We talking about stuff. We talking about not having a GoFundMe account. In other groups and other ethnic backgrounds, when you're talking about Asian families, Indian, they talking about dynasties. They talking about 200-300 years of wealth they trying to leave behind. And let me tell you, leaving behind 200-300 years of wealth ain't gonna be an easy lift. So what I thought about, what I had taken on myself is, you know what, I'm gonna have to sacrifice. Like for something to be different in my family's line, somebody gonna have to stand in the gap at some point, and I've decided that's gonna have to be me. So I like for everything to be perfect, right? I like me to be perfect, but I'm not. I'm not a perfect husband. I'm not a perfect dad. I do my best in those areas, right? And I'm always trying to improve, but I know the thing I'm working for will pay off for, again, not just my children, but generations of children after them. Because if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to get the same results. So I think for everybody, they got to make that decision, Candace, of like, hey, you know what? Like, what is the real impact and result I'm trying to have? And they can say, hey, you know what? And it depends, right? Like my family could be good. I ain't got to do that much. I could do, this thing. Somebody can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do half and half. Somebody say, I'm going to go hard on this part. Somebody say, hey, you know what? I got a spouse. So since I got a spouse, we can leverage some things. Somebody say, I don't have a spouse. It's just me by myself. I grew up the youngest boy of 3 boys, right? To a single mom. So it's different, right? I can do things my mother couldn't do, right? Ronnie can do some things my mother couldn't do. So everybody got to pick it for themselves. But I'm just letting you know, it ain't going to be easy. It ain't going to be balanced a lot of times. But what it will be is worth it when you get done. Get your mind to it, get fixed in that right direction. And at the end of the day, it'll be worth it. At the end of the day, people that don't understand why you do what you do will all understand you, not just understand you, but they will stand up and applaud you for it because you're making a difference in so many lives other than just your own.
I love it. One thing I love about you is that you constantly give back, even through the work that you do within TSP. But one last question I always like to ask is like, what do you say to the woman who's afraid of going after her next big thing?
Here's what I'll say, right? This is the best community to do it in, right? Because y'all are women of faith. How many of you feel like the work you're doing, you're called to do? And it ain't gotta be everybody. I ain't trying to make nothing up. It's not everybody. But I know a lot of time with women of faith, and women of color, a lot of your businesses are tied to, I want to serve other people, right? I want to make an impact on other people. I'm doing this because like a lot of times it's like you or your family was in some situation, you want to go back and help people like that, or you want to pour. I already know what the makeup of it is. You see it coming in the chat right now. What I'm gonna tell y'all, right, is this: like you really got to get in your gut that every day that you're not at the top of your game, every day you're not driving revenue, every day you're not building a business, every day that you're not making yourself better and improving, whoever it is you want to serve. Y'all tell me who you want to serve in the chat. You want to serve, I want to serve single moms. I want to serve, children. Somebody told me I want to serve, young Black children because they need to be in STEM before third grade or XYZ, right? So Kamara said trauma survivors. Like, this is what Kamara got to understand. Every day that she doesn't get to whatever the goal is for her and her business, are people going through trauma? Are they surviving trauma? Every single day. So what you really got to realize, y'all, is when you have these missions and you called to do these things from God, you got to go and you got to do it, and you got to not just do it, but you got to do it now. Because every day that you don't do it, you leaving somebody behind. And I think that's what we really got to catch. And that part ain't fun. This ain't been a fun conversation. I'm sorry, Candace. I don't know. Like, some people, I've been on toes. Some people been hurt. But y'all, like, you really got to get this part that every day that you don't show up as your best self and you don't get there, you leaving. Like, somebody's going through trauma every day that need that help. And every day that she not there to give it, what's happening to them? And that's what you got to connect, right? Somebody said, woman of faith dealing with hormonal imbalance, single women. Like, guess what? Every day that you're not there, what is the impact? And if we really connect what the impact is of us not being there, us not showing up, us not being in front of them to provide a resource, provide the help, it'll make us get there 10 times as fast. So if God called you to do it, why are you there not doing it already? It don't make sense, but it's like you got it. When you get that inside of you, it'll change how you think. And can I say one more thing about money real quick? Because I know a lot of people struggle with the money part. Because we want to serve people, we got a problem making money. I told somebody one time, I said, hey, what do you want to do? And it's like, hey, I want to serve, single moms in LA area to do blah, 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 whatever. And I said, like, what's your dream to do for them? They're like, I want to do a online summit and teach them these things. So I said, this is why you need money. Because I said, if money was no object, what would you do? Because people say money don't really matter. I'm going to show you all they do. If money was no object, what would you do? She said, well, I wouldn't have it online. I would do an in-person summit. I said, but let's make it bigger. Because if money was no object, what if we could not only have it in person, but what if we could invite them and allow them to come for free? She said, oh. And what if we can not only allow them to come for free, but we can allow them to come for free and give them an overnight stay in the hotel? Hold up, right? Would that be more impactful than a virtual summit, y'all? Then if we say, okay, I said, well, what if a lot of women never had the chance to go out of the country? And instead of having it in LA, what if you had it in Jamaica? And you had it at a resort? And if money's no issue, what if we had in a resort in Jamaica? We had all of the people you have virtual in person, but then we told them, guess what? When you come, we're going to cover your flight. We're going to cover your room to give you an experience. You can get away from all the drama, all the stuff at home, all the people that don't want to see you succeed, and you can start over your new life here. That's the impact of money. That's what money does when used correctly. Most of the time, money is in the wrong hands. Guess what? Starting the day can be in your hands. We the ones to make the change. I got to say, and I say in my community, we are the ones. Like, y'all, we are the ones. If you say, hey, man, people with money need to do this, guess what? Become people with money and you do it.
Gems dropped always. I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell us where we can stay connected with you online. This has been so good. And I'm glad I gave them the preface that you got the tough love, but we love to hear it.
Somebody will be back. I'm going to get a Nastagram in my inbox, but somebody like, what is your contact info? Because I got something to send you. All right, y'all, you can find me online. My brand, my community, Traffic, Sales, and Profit. We got a free Facebook group, 45,000 plus entrepreneurs, Traffic, Sales, and Profit. With Lamar Tyler, and you can find the website, just trafficsalesandprofit.com. And you can find me online, right, on social, just at Lamar Tyler. Instagram, at Lamar Tyler. TikTok, at Lamar Tyler. Everywhere, just one word, Lamar, LamarTyler. Thank y'all. I appreciate you, too. Thank you, Candace. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Go Getter Podcast. If you love this conversation, you're going to love the panels and workshops that are at Go Getter Conference. It's our premier event of the year, and it happens annually. It's going to help you market and monetize your God-given ideas and connect with women from across the globe. Head over to gogetterconference.com to check it out right now. And just for staying until the end of this episode, we have a special gift for you, the Go Getter Plan and Profit Workbook. This workbook is going to help you plan your income for the year. So head to gogetterpodcast.com/plan and profit to get your copy. And don't forget to drop a 5-star review if you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you on the next episode of the Go Getter Podcast.